let's talk about four little words. You know, the ones we use all the time, every single day to point things out. This, that, these, and those. They seem simple, right? But sometimes they can be a little tricky. But don't worry, by the end of this, you're going to be a total pro. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle a really common communication issue, what I call the vague that problem. Then, we'll properly meet the words designed to fix it. After that, I'll let you in on the two simple rules that make them so easy to use. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to make you a clearer communicator. Okay, let's kick things off with a problem that I guarantee you've run into before. It's all about what happens when our words just aren't quite precise enough to get the job done. You know that feeling, right? Someone says something to you, they kind of gesture vaguely into the distance, and you're just left them thinking, wait, hold on, which one are you even talking about? It's such a classic communication breakdown. Okay, picture this. You're at a library, surrounded by just walls and walls of books. Your friend points broadly at an entire shelf and says, "You should totally read that. It's amazing." That what? The red book? The giant one? The one on the top shelf I can't even reach? It is so frustratingly unclear. And that right there is the heart of the issue. When our pointing words aren't specific, our message just gets lost in translation. Your listener is left trying to guess what you mean, and the whole conversation just grinds to a halt. But here's the good news. The English language has a built-in solution for this. So let's meet the four words that are specifically designed to cut through all that confusion. And here they are, our cast of characters for today. This, that, these, and those. Think of these as your verbal pointers, the tools you use to point with your words, nice and clear. Now, their fancy grammatical name is demonstrative pronouns, and it makes perfect sense because the word demonstrate literally means to show or to point something out. So their entire job, their whole reason for being, is to point to something specific so everybody's on the same page. So, here's the really cool part. You absolutely do not need to be a grammar wizard to get these right every single time. It really just boils down to understanding two very, very simple rules. All right, rule number one is all about proximity. That's just a way of talking about distance. It asks one simple question. How close is the thing you're talking about? Is it right here near you, or is it way over there? And here's how it works. If something is near you, like you could reach out and touch it, you use this. For instance, do you like this hat I'm holding? But if it's far away from you, you switch over to that. Like you point up at the sky and say, "Whoa, do you see that bird way over there?" See? It's just near versus far. That's it. Okay, rule number two is, believe it or not, even easier. It's just about the number. Are you pointing to one single thing, or are you pointing to a bunch of things? Is it singular or is it plural? Let's use an apple as an example. If you're talking about just one apple, you'd say, "I want this apple." But what if you're talking about the whole bowl of them? Well, it becomes plural, so you say, "I want these apples." Easy peasy. One thing versus many things. And boom! This little grid right here is your ultimate cheat sheet. It puts it all together perfectly. If something is near and it's singular, you use this. If it's near and plural, you use these. If it's far and singular, it's that. And you guessed it, if it's far and plural, you use those. That's literally the entire system. Okay, so now let's see this in action. Let's see how applying these two super simple rules, proximity and number, just instantly wipes out confusion and makes our conversations so much better. So let's jump back to our friend in the library. Instead of that vague wave, imagine they pick up one single book that's right there in front of them, and they say, "You should read this book." It's near, it's singular, so they use this. And just like that, you know exactly which book they're talking about. No confusion, no guessing, problem solved. All right, just one last quick but important little detail that's going to take your skills to the next level. These four words are so handy that they can actually do two different but very related jobs in a sentence. Okay, so they can act as a pronoun, which means the word can stand all by itself, replacing the noun. Or they can be a determiner, which is really just a fancy way of saying it comes right before a noun to point out which one you're talking about. Let's check this out. You could point and just say, "I'll take this." Here, this is a pronoun. It's doing all the work. Or you could be a little more specific and say, "I'll take this donut."
Now, this is a determiner, helping out the word donut. Same goes for the plural ones. You could ask, did you see those? Or you could ask, did you see those stars? Both ways are perfectly correct. The words are just wearing slightly different hats.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's really simple. Precise language is powerful language. Getting a handle on these 4 tiny words, this, that, these, and those, has a massive impact on how clearly people understand you. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you have these simple rules of proximity and number in your toolkit, what are you going to point to with your words with a little more clarity from now on? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.